1971 to 1974. Strat-O-Matic Excel Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Trawler.
Game 557, Indians at Orioles. Welcome back, baseball fans. 1971-74 Carryover League. We are in the concluding moments of the second round of the postseason tournament, the race to the pennant in the American League. We're looking for some more qualifiers to get to the third round of this tournament. We have a series tonight between the Indians and Orioles, two teams from different divisions who have played very well, have to play each other, and it turns out that you could have a series where nobody goes home, where both teams will continue playing. And for the most part, that's what we're going to get, folks. Let's take a look at the overall schedule of the tournament to this point. It is a affair here between the Orioles, who were in third place in the American League East, but they were 6 over 500. And Cleveland, 7 over 500 in second place. So this is a best of 5 with 5 games left because they're half game apart. So in a best of 5 series, folks, I hope you like pitching because we got some arms out there. Of course, you look at the history of Cleveland with, you know, early win and Herb Score and, you know, Gaylord Perry and the Orioles arms, and my goodness, folks, game 1 does not disappoint. It's Jim Palmer, starter 9, Cy Young winner, versus Gaylord Perry. He has to be a Cy Young winner in 72, I'm thinking. He only won 24 games, right? I'm going to have to double check if he won the Cy Young or not. Anyway, Jim Palmer, Gaylord Perry. You better get there early, folks. This game could be over, and you can beat the traffic on the way home. So this is what happens. In the 6th inning, Don Buford walks, okay? They put the hit and run on. Brooksy swings through it, but Buford steals second base. So the Orioles got a break there. So now Brooksy gets another crack at it. Boom! 2-10 on his card, 2-run bomb, ball game. Baseball game is over in the 6th inning, 2-zip. Oh, Gaylord Perry, 9-inning complete game, 6 hits, that 2-run homer, 2 walks, and 7 Ks. But today it is James Alvin Palmer of Baltimore, 6-hit shutout, a walk, and 3 Ks. In a game that was probably an hour and 52 minutes long. Baltimore beats Cleveland in Cleveland in game 1. They take over home field. It's up to the Tribe now to get a split at home in Municipal Stadium. So let's see what happens. In game 2, it's going to be the Crazy Horse, Mike Cuellar against Jim Perry, brother of Gaylord Perry. Well, he only won 24 games too, I think, right? Let me see. Gaylord won 24, Perry won 17, my bad. Any event, in this game, weird start. A weird start defensively for Baltimore's defense as Don Buford makes a 2-base error, a ground ball, RBI single, 1 unearned run to nothing. Then in the 2nd inning, here it comes, folks. Earl Williams, solo bomb on his card on 1-9. Bobby Grich, solo bomb on his card on 2-9. And Paul Blair, solo bomb on his card on 1-7. These are all homer chances, by the way. I think it was a 15, a 1-8, and a 1-6. They hit them all. Oh boy, 3-1 game. Hey, bottom of the 6th inning, Ron Swoboda gets into the act. Hits a homer off of Cuellar's card. But besides this error here by Mr. Buford, the Baltimore defense was hitting X's all day long. You got no shot on this Baltimore defense, folks. Not today, at least. Bobby Grich, the 1-20 second baseman, was the only guy making errors earlier. He seems to have figured it out. You got Brooks Robinson, a 1-17 at third. Boog Powell's a 2-7 at first. You got Paul Blair, a 1-7 in center field. And they are just flailing away trying to reach on Baltimore's defense. Nothing is going on. Let's go to the bottom of the ninth inning. Cuellar looking for another Baltimore complete game. However, Ron, I'm going to get you on a Swoboda China, another single. He reaches twice today. So they pull him with a 3-2 lead, so he can't lose. They want the righty Bob Reynolds against Bell and Gamble. Buddy Bell instantly a 4-6-3 double play, and this thing is over, you think. So Gamble rolls off Bob Reynolds' card, single on a 1, line out the rest to end the game. He rolls the 1, gets the single 1, line out the rest. He continues the baseball game to the dismay of the Orioles. Then Ray Fosse, a single, and Gamble ends up on third. Runners on the corners, 2 outs. Third pitcher of the inning is Grant Jackson. He gets Chris Chambliss to ground out to end it. The heartbroken Indians tried to the ninth. They had 3 singles in the inning with a double play mixed up in there. They could not beat Baltimore's tremendous pitching and defense. A 3-2 victory. 2 road wins for the Orioles with Palmer and Cuellar. And it's not going to get any easier for the Indians as we go to Baltimore for Game 3. Before we do that, we have to take a look at these amazing standings. Every time I play a baseball game in the American League East, I got to reshuffle the standings because it always changes. The Orioles were in first, then they were in third, then they were in second, now they're back in first. Tied with the Yankees at the top of the division. The Blue Jays a half game back. A fictional Toronto Blue Jay team, a half game back. The Blue Jays were in first place at the start of this round, but they lost to the Tigers. They could be pushed into the third round of the tournament, win that, and be back in first place. This is just too close to call, folks. A half game separating 3 teams in the American League East. Meanwhile, the Tigers are pretty comfortable, 12 over 500. They're feeling they're going to be the number 1 seed in the American League. They most likely will. And the Indians and Expos are currently 5 over 500, but they should continue as well. At this point, we can say goodbye to the Minnesota Twins. We knew there was going to be a team that, because the American League has done so well in interleague play, 15 over 500, we knew that a very good baseball team was not going to make it into the third round of the tournament with a good record. That is the Minnesota Twins, who, to get to 18 and 15, they were once, what, the 8 and 12? I can't remember. They beat Kansas City 4 straight, and then they beat Seattle 2 straight. So they were 12 and 15, and they ripped off 6 straight wins. But they were at the expense of these bottom feeders. So, shed no tears for the Twins. They should have played better earlier in the year, I suppose. So they're toast. Yeah, so it looks like all these teams are going to be alive in the third round of the tournament. We just don't know the matchups yet until this series ends. And boy, this is going to be chaotic. We're not going to know the number 2 or number 3 seeds in the American League until the tournament's in its last day, because Oakland's 8 over 500 here at 600 ball. And you have 618 and 605, and one of these teams may not even have to play in the third round of the tournament. Matter of fact, we know either the Yankees will be in first place with the number 2 seed at 605 going to the third round of the tournament if Baltimore falters, or the Orioles or increase their percentage. So Baltimore and the Yankees will be in first place, and the Blue Jays will be in third. But they still have a better record than these 2 teams. Look at that. I think all 3 of these are going to be on the playoffs, and one of these 2 teams might have to... Could be that both these teams might be gone. So, anyway, back to reality here. Cleveland at Baltimore. Doesn't get any easier for the Indians. They'll send Dick Tidrow, a very young 1972 Tidrow, had a nice year in 237 innings. He won 14 games with a 2.77 ERA. Outstanding young pitching for the Indians, folks. But he has to battle crafty lefty Dave McNally, 21 and 5 in 1971. One of those 4 20-game winners Baltimore sent to the World Series that year. 2.89 ERA in 224 innings. Not to mention the Indians don't hit lefties very well, as we saw in Game 2. And Baltimore's defense, boy, we have a chance to Show you how that plays out today, folks. Orioles want to sweep so they can be in first place by themselves. Leading off for the Indians, former future Oriole, Mark Belanger. 4-4 off McNally's a pop to first. Belanger, another casualty, by the way, of Baltimore. You can't keep all your guys in this expansion league. And they could protect old Mark Belanger. And, you know, he wasn't one of the top, I guess, 12 players in their team at one point. He got plucked off the Oriole roster, and they need him to play short in the future. Maybe they'll trade for him. Ron Swoboda China, homered in Game 2. 37 is a walk. Now you got Buddy Bell. 1-4, that is a 6-4-3 double play. Bottom of 1, leading off is Don Buford. 2-8 is a base hit. Not going to run off of Ray Fosse's -3 arm. Brooks Robinson batting second. 5-11 off Tidrow. This is short X, and this is a taste of their own medicine. Belanger against the Orioles, a 1/18 shortstop. And that's a 6-4-3 double play. See how painful that is when you see your own guys elsewhere in baseball. That hurts the Orioles, not having Belanger in the fold. Al Bunbury, 1-8 is a base hit. And it'll be Earl Williams has started to produce since he's been moved into the cleanup spot after a rough start in Baltimore. 1-8, right on cue. Let's take a look at the Earl Williams card. We talked about this. To this point, the Earl Williams trade to Atlanta for Davey Johnson has been nothing but a catastrophe, as Atlanta has run away with the National League while Earl Williams has struggled. But recently, Earl Williams is having a pretty good tournament with multiple home runs. This is the second in this round. He also had a couple in the previous round. 1-8, that is gone. One of the 33 home runs Earl Williams hit in 1971. And Baltimore takes a 2-0 lead, which for this series is like a 12-0 lead. Boog Powell. 1-5 flies to right. Top of 2, it's Oscar Gamble. 1-7's a K. Ray Fosse, 67, lines to short. Chris Chambliss, 55, off McNally, is 1-1-5, base hit. The tie run, Alex Johnson, 57 off McNally, short X. Now they don't have Belanger. They actually have Cleveland shortstop. They have Frank Duffy, a 3/18 shortstop. He makes the play. Duffy was actually a free agent, and Baltimore cleverly snatched him up. So to play that, if you have our guy, we'll take your guy. So it could very well be that these two shortstops end up getting traded in the offseason in a package with the two clubs. Bottom of 2, it's Bobby Grich. 35 is a hit by the pitch. Paul Blair. 1-8 for Blair. Double 108, single ... It is a double, second and third. And it is Frank Duffy. He's with 8 bunters, so you have to bring the infield up. Frank Duffy, here's the pitch. 2-7, let's take a look at the Frank Duffy card. So he hit 239 and 72 with this card. And so I don't know how long he is for the Orioles, but they had to get somebody to play short in the vacuum there. But 2-7 here might be the biggest hit of Duffy's Baltimore tenure. That's a base hit to right field. That'll score Grich. Blair, 16 runner, will take on the Gamble arm. It's a 15 run, and he scores on an 11. A 2-run single, and Baltimore's got a 4-0 lead. Trying to run away with this thing. Batting ninth is Lee Stanton. 68 off Tidrow, flies out. First out of the inning. Back up top to Buford. 68 again, pops to short. And with 2 outs, it's Brooks Robinson, 46 off Tidrow, single 1-2. 10 is a line out on a 14. Baltimore gives McNally a 4-run lead. And boy, Cleveland's got their work cut out for them. Veda Pinson, 1-5, grounds a third. Eddie Leone, 46, single 1-10 off McNally, gets it. Nice hitting there by Leone. Back up top to Mark Belanger. 34 for the Blade is a fielder's choice. He's at first with 2 outs for Swoboda China. 2-10, skies to center field. Bottom of the third, the B, Al Bunbury. 47 off Tidrow was a strikeout. Earl Williams, 49K. And Boog Powell, 2-9, rolls the second. Into the fourth. It's Buddy Bell, 1-9. Grounds to short. Gamble, Oscar, 1-9, rolls the second. And with 2 outs, it's Ray Fosse, 1-2. Flies to center field, McNally. Latest Baltimore pitcher to put up some goose eggs on that board. Bobby Grich, 47 off Tidrow is a K. Paul Blair, 38 is a walk. Frank Duffy, this time he's going to do a 1-out hit and run. Moves the runner to second base for Lee Stanton. 110, Leroy Stanton is a single to center field. Blair, 16 runner, 17, 18 will take on the -1 arm of Pinson. It's a 17 to score, and he scores on a 5. Timely hitting for Baltimore. And the writing seems to be on the wall. Cleveland would have to have a remarkable rally against a great Baltimore pitching staff. Don Buford, 55. It continues against Tidrow. 1-1, single dot dot. It is a single dot dot. On the corners now for Brooks Robinson. 69, skies the center. We go to the fifth of a 5-0 affair. It's Chris Chambliss. 2-8 bounces to third. Alex Johnson, 44, pops to first. Vada Pinson, 67, skies the center field. McNally's given up a couple singles through 5 frames. Baltimore has a 5-0 lead, bottom of the fifth. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
All right, bottom of the fifth for Dick Tidrow. Not much for him to do, really. He's a good pitcher. Baltimore just had the timely hits. Bottom of the fifth. It's Al Bunbury. 36. Let's take a look at Al Bunbury's card of 1973. He's your American League Rookie of the Year with a .337 batting average. With power, by the way, so they got him in the 3-hole instead of leading off. Single 1 to 17. He's on for the second time. Earl Williams. 311 is a 5-4-3 double play. And with 2 outs, it's Boog Powell. 67 off Tidrow, pops to first. Tidrow battles back. We go to the sixth. It's Eddie Leone. 2-6, pops to short. Back up top to Mark Belanger, 38, and he'll get a single 1 to 16 chance and gets it. C. Steeler, first Swoboda. 43 off McNally is right X, but you have a 2-5 in right field, and he makes the catch. That's Stanton. And with 2 outs, Buddy Bell. 35, flies left. Dave McNally, my goodness, the latest Baltimore pitcher to dominate. Poor Milt Pappas only pitches occasionally because it's Palmer, Cuellar, McNally with a day off or two. Like Son in Spain and play for rain. Palmer, Cuellar, McNally and pray for a rain out so we don't have to use Milt Pappas. Bottom of the sixth. 5-0 affair. Bobby Grich will lead off. 1-8's a walk. Paul Blair. 4-12 pops out. We're going to try another Duffy hit and run, this time with Grich the runner. Moves the runner to second base with 2 outs for Lee Stanton. It worked last time. 1-7 Leroy Stanton. Let's take a look at this guy's card. He was an Angel. He was part of the Don Baylor deal. We decided to move Don Baylor to the Angels much sooner in this decade than he actually went to help those Angels. Kind of hurts the Orioles a little bit. He wasn't long for the Orioles anyway. And they got this guy back in the package. 12 home runs and 400 at-bats here. 1-7 is homer 1-9 double. That is a 2-base hit that will score the run. 6-0. 2 for 3 with RBIs for Lee Stanton in the 9-hole. We got Don Buford. 2-8 for Buford is a single to left field. Stanton's got wheels. 14, 15, 16 against the 0 arm. Scores another one. It's 7-0. The Orioles can smell the American League East here. They're getting very close. with another win. They can't clinch anything, though. It's Brooks Robinson. 5-11 off Tidrow, short X, and Belanger makes the play. I think we're going to call it a day for Dick Tidrow here. His unfortunate outing. The overmatched Indians struggling clearly in the series, down 7-zip. Into the 7th we go. It'll be Oscar Gamble leading off. 2 7s, a single. Ray Fosse, 39, is a fly ball to left. Chris Chambliss, 38, is a 4-6-3 double play for McNally. My goodness, what a brilliant performance for the number 3 starter, who's the ace on pretty much every other team in the league. Well, you know what I mean, except for Oakland and a couple of other ones. Stretch time in Baltimore. They have a 7-0 lead. We are enjoying Crack the Sky. 1975 LP just outside the timeline. Often played in Maryland on the radio, though they weren't from Maryland, I don't believe. But a fine LP featuring Hold On, Surf City. Had a big write-up back in the day in 75 when this came out in Rolling Stone magazine, as I recall. The great Crack the Sky. Back to the game, bottom of the 7th. Tidrow will exit, and we'll go through some relievers here. We'll have Tom Hilgendorf come on in the 7th inning. Baltimore's not particularly good against lefties. Hilgendorf is a good lefty reliever, 5-3, 3.14 ERA in 73. One of the problems Cleveland has is that their left-handed starter is this guy, Mike Kilkenny, who's not very good and the weakest pitcher on the staff. And so they bypassed his start for competitive reasons, but they didn't realize that the Orioles are terrible against lefties anyway. And the Orioles have been successful against 3 straight righties, Perry, and Tidrow. Something to look at in the future as Baltimore continues their run to the pennant. Bottom of the 7th, Hilgendorf's in there. Bunbury will exit, the left-handed batter. And they're going to bring in Andy Etchebarren. Will come in. 1-4, short. He'll be the new catcher. Earl Williams will shift to designated hitter. Earl Williams, 63. Pitcher X. This is Hilgendorf's an E15. Makes the play. And Boog Powell, 1-5, Ks. Into the 8th for McNally. Let's improve his defense. One more guy. Let's put Bobby Wine into play shortstop for Frank Duffy. That maximizes the defense. Unable to acquire or reacquire Mark Belanger, the 1E18 shortstop. They settled for Bobby Wine, who is a 2E14 shortstop. You know, that's good enough to defensively win in the playoffs, so no huge drawback there. Into the 8th for McNally will be Alex Johnson, 57, short X. As soon as I say that, we get a ground ball to the new shortstop. It's a E14, and he makes the play. Veda Pinson, 48, short X. And again, 2E14, makes the play. And Eddie Leone, 2-9, short A, no X. So immediately 3 ground balls to the defensive replacement for McNally. Par for the course. We go to the 8th. Hilgendorf will continue to face Gritch. 2-8 for Gritch against a lefty. Triple 1 and 10, doubles a triple. They're going to bring it up for Paul Blair. 67 is a K. Up for Bobby Wine. 38. Center be question mark. A chance to get a sac fly here. Gritch, 15, 16, 17. -1 R makes it a 16. And he scores on a sac fly. Leadoff triple when he scores. It's 8-zip. And Leroy Stanton. 6'10", catcher's card. Ray Fosse's a 1. Well, we've said it before about the tournament. Sometimes you can lose in this tournament and not be hurt too much. In this case, Cleveland's being swept, but they can fix all this in the 3rd round of the tournament. They can come back and compete for a playoff spot. So if this was the playoffs, their season would be over, but Cleveland's season is not over. This was a wake-up call to them. They have to play better baseball. or it's going to be curtains. And back up top, it'll be McNally going for a complete game, 4-hitter. Mark Belanger leads off. 1-8, rounds a short. Swoboda, 46, single 1-10, gets it. Buddy Bell, 55, and there we go. Homer 1-7, double, and that is gone. That's a 2-run homer. It's an 8-2 game. And with that, McNally will exit. 8 1/3, runs out of steam in the 9th, but they got a big 6-run lead. And they're going to go to Billy Wilson, the long man, with a huge lead. Bill Wilson was a throw-in by the Phillies in the Grant Jackson trade for Pat Dobson. He was 4-6 with a 3.05 ERA in 71. Exceptional against left-handed batters. And Oscar Gamble is one of those. So in the 9th, Bill Wilson will face the original gangster, Oscar Gamble. Here's the pitch. 2-9, Gamble singles. Now you got Ray Fosse. 34. Oh, that unfortunately is a 1. 6-3. Double play to end the game. Couldn't finish the rally in the 9th. And Baltimore sweeps Cleveland 3 straight. And now Cleveland will have to work a little bit to keep their season going. We're going to go right to the math in this. We'll just leave their thing recording here, as we'll take you right through the box score and set up the next round of the tournament here. A complete finish. The Orioles, just too much pitching in this round. Bill Wilson gave up a single. McNally got the victory. 6 hits, the 2 runs in the 9th, a walk, and only a strikeout. Hilgendorf in a couple innings gave up a hit, a run, and a K. Hit, a run, and 2 Ks. Not a good day for Tidrow. Gave up 10 hits and 7 runs. They were all earned. Walked 3, struck out 3. 1-0, 9-0, 1-0, 8. 8-11-2-7. 8-11-2-7. 1-1-3-5. 3-5-1-1. 3 straight wins. We have seen some lopsided affairs in this tournament. And another commentary I want to add is we are playing fewer games this year than in previous years, as series are ending sooner, being more lopsided. That's generally not a great thing, but it could also mean that in previous years we just had a more competitive league. And we're starting to see a bigger gap between the best teams and the also-rans. And Baltimore certainly seemed to demonstrate that here. Cleveland, they're in their own division with the Tigers, so they get a better draw. But once they play a legit contender like Baltimore, you saw what just happened there. Not very good. Baltimore 22-13. They're by themselves in first place. They have to watch TV to see if they clinch the division, because Toronto and New York have a path. We'll just call it that. There's going to be a path. We'll have to get to that momentarily, of what the path is for either the Yankees or the Blue Jays to win the American League East. Baltimore is hitting .256 with a .251 team ERA. McNally improves to 6-1 with that effort. No complete games, though. Interesting. You got 9 homers for Boog Powell. And Earl Williams now has a respectable 7 homers and 21 RBI. So he's got most of those in the last 10 games. He's still 25 for 115 is Earl Williams. 217 hitting catcher. Yeah, that's problematic. Let's take a peek at the Tribe here. The Cleveland Indians, they beat up on the Ohio expansion team in the last round. They fall to 18-14. It's still a good year for them. Hitting .269, 4.03 ERA is a little on the high side. Gaylord Perry has 6 complete games, 28 runs and 91 innings. Gaylord Perry still got a .276 ERA. Not a lot of power here in Cleveland. You're looking at 4 home runs for Fosse. Nobody has 20 RBI. And their leading hitter is the 40 hits of Chris Chambliss, who was All-Star Game snub. He's hitting .317. Just an okay offense and really good starting pitching and a good bullpen and mixed bag of defense. So yeah, Cleveland's okay, but you know, against the top shelf, you can see their weaknesses. So 22-13 for Baltimore, 18-14 for Cleveland. So here we are. So when 6 over 500 third place teams played 7 over 500 second place teams, it was the East in both occasions. The Yankees beat the Expos 3-2 to go to 8 over 500. Baltimore stormed over Cleveland 3 straight to go 9 over 500 at 22-13. And Cleveland falls to 18-14, but we're going to have them continue in this tournament, 4 over 500. So we're going to take a peek again at the overall standings. And so the first place teams, as we go to the third round of the tournament, don't participate. It's the teams seeded 5, 6, 7, and 8 by record who would continue. And that would be these teams down here aren't good enough. So they're all done. Their seasons are over, including the Twins, 3 over 500. We could resort this as well, as Cleveland falls into third place, just a half game behind the Expos. And the reason for that is that the Expos played better than Cleveland against the American League East competition. We're going to do a quick sort of that, as this math is just going to go, it's going to go down to the last game and before we know where we are at. So Detroit, have they clinched the #1 seed? The answer is yes, because Baltimore will be idle in first place, and the White Sox will be idle, and the A's will be idle. So the Tigers will be the #1 seed, the American League. As far as the #2 seed now, you have 8 over 500 Oakland. I think they do not have a path to a #2 seed and a bye. And that's a big story there. They will have to settle for a 3 seed. Because if somebody unseats Baltimore, they'd also be better than Oakland, who is idle. One of the faults that Oakland has is a weak division, so they weren't able to pile up a lot of wins. So they're 8 over 500. They'll play in the wild card round hosting, as will the White Sox. They'll both be hosting in the wild card round, different squads. But the 2 seed is up for grabs. Right now, Baltimore has it. And for the Orioles, a bye, boy, they could fall all the way to a road wild card team if the Yankees or the Blue Jays get hot in the third round of the tournament against the Expos and the Indians, who are fighting for their lives. We also want to point out that the Yankees are currently a 5, and the Blue Jays are currently the 6. And the Expos and Indians are the 7 and 8. There it is, 8 over 500, 7 over 500, 5 over 500, and 4. 8, 7, 5, and 4. So now, when we plug in the math here, it's going to be tough for that American League North. Boy, we set up the third round of a tournament here. You start with the Yankees, Toronto, 8, 7, and then you have the Expos, 5, and Cleveland at 4. We have all that information right here. You see the Yankees at 8. You see Cleveland at 4. You see the Expos at 5. And Toronto over here at 7. Toronto was kicked into this group. They were in first place, but now they're not. So they have to play in this round for their lives. So now, what are the needs? This is what the teams need to do. They only have 3 games and a possible tiebreaker. The unfortunate news for the Indians is they're in trouble. They are 2 full games behind the Yankees with 3 games left. So winning 2 out of 3 is not going to work. It doesn't get you a tiebreaker. You got to be tied or within a half a game. And it's not going to work. So Cleveland is going to need to win all 3 games. Good luck with that. Meanwhile, over here, Toronto is a single game ahead of the Expos. So in this matchup of a former Canadian team and a present Canadian team, the Expos and Blue Jays, a single game separates them. So the winner of the series wins the tiebreaker. So if the Expos win 2 out of 3, they'd finished in a tie, but that is indeed the tiebreaker. So it is a best of 3. That will be very competitive. It's a best of 3 here for a wild card spot, and the Yankees over here. And as far as the American League East go, we'll have to go to the tiebreakers of Baltimore and the Yankees. I don't think the Blue Jays, well, the Blue Jays could win 2 straight as well. Could they not? Yes, the Blue Jays could win the first 2 games that end that quickly against the Expos. They're 9 over. They have the tiebreaker against Baltimore. I know that. They beat them in the regular season and the playoffs. That's correct, ladies and gentlemen. The Toronto Blue Jays can still win the American League East if they sweep the Expos. However, if the Yankees, all they have to do is win a game. So the best the Yankees can do is win game 1 and be 9 over 500, tied with Baltimore. So you could have a 3-way tie if the Yankees win game 1, that series ends, because all they need is 1 victory, and Toronto wins the first 2 games. That means that all 3 teams in the American League East will be, we'll plug Baltimore in here. All 3 teams will be 9 games over 500 in the American League East. So it is still going to be a wild party in this tournament here. Can't wait to play these games in the American League East. Indians, Yankees, Expos, Blue Jays coming up in the American League tournament. Thanks for checking this out. Congratulations, Baltimore, on the 3-game sweep. We'll see you next time.